Today I'm reacting to your wrestling hot takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether they're good or bad, about your current thoughts on the state of professional wrestling. So if you want to be featured in next week's Hot Takes video, make sure that you're following me on X. The link will be in the description of this video. I ask for your hot take on there after every episode of Raw, every episode of SmackDown, and after every WWE Premium Live event. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I am confident that you're going to fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's read your stupid shit. LA Knight was born to wear the United States Championship title belt. Brother, I am with you. I said the exact same thing. It almost looked like that championship belt was made, engineered from the ground up specifically for LA Knight. It might also be the fact that he's been chasing championship gold for so long that it just sort of felt like we finally achieved the goal that we've been trying to strive for the better part of like a year and a half at this point. It was just nice to see LA Knight with that championship. It was also extra nice to see the crowd give LA Knight his appreciation, telling him that he deserves it, because frankly, he does. He's been one of the most over acts in professional wrestling for the better part of a year and a half now. He's been chasing championship gold, and even when he fails to achieve championship gold, he still maintains this really high status amongst fans. Every single time his music hits, he has the loudest pop of the night, or is in contention for the loudest pop of the night. It's just nice to see one of the guys of the people get that thing that the people have been wanting and cheering for him to achieve. It feels so good to see LA Knight with the United States Championship. He deserves it, although I don't think a new theme song was necessary. Yeah, we already touched on the fact that he absolutely deserves the championship, and I just sort of felt good about seeing him with that championship. But yeah, about the theme song, here's the thing. This is like the most basic change. Like, they didn't really enhance the entrance theme, and they didn't really make it better. They just sort of changed the flavor by adding more drums and more guitar and a bit more of an electronic feel. I don't necessarily think that it makes it better or worse, which in my mind leads me to believe that it was just an unnecessary change. LA Knight's theme was one of those like few super perfect entrance themes as it was. Again, this doesn't make it better. This doesn't make it any worse. I don't really know why change it if it didn't really need any changing, and if the changes that you were gonna make weren't particularly that impactful either. Whatever. It literally is a whatever change for me. It doesn't change my opinion on LA Knight's entrance theme. I still think it's a banger. I just question why make any change to it at all if it's going to be such a minuscule change. Austin Theory needs to turn very soon. It's starting to get uninteresting and just boring. So I'm starting to learn my lesson with Triple H, because I'm of the mind that I'm with you. I'm starting to also lose interest in that Austin Theory heel turn, but I also lost interest in main event Finn Balor so long ago. I really thought that they were never going to pull the trigger on it, and then all of a sudden, boom, they pulled the goddamn trigger on it, and now it's like the biggest thing in professional wrestling. Finn Balor bided his time, Triple H bided his time, and made the decision when it was set to be the most impactful. I'm hoping that maybe that's why this is being dragged out. They're waiting for the most impactful moment for an Austin Theory babyface turn, because if they were to just turn him face willy-nilly, I mean, where does that put him on the card? Where does that set him for the future? But if you do it at the right moment, you could pull the trigger at the right time and make him a megastar. That's at least what I've learned with Triple H, and why I'm willing to continue to invest myself in the possibility of this Austin Theory heel turn, because I keep getting burned time and time and time again when I think it's going to be failed and missed expectations, only for them to pull the trigger when I wasn't expecting them to pull the trigger, and then all of a sudden I'm right back in and fully interested in whatever it is that they're telling me. Maybe that's where things are going to end up with Austin Theory at the end of the day. We'll see. At this point, I hate saying this, but yeah, just let Papa H cook on this one. Let's just see what he's got up his sleeve. Push Chelsea Green. Hopefully with the new women's speed title, we'll finally get a women's mid-card title. Couple of things. Yes, push Chelsea Green. That moment that she had with Tiffany Stratton in the back. My goodness, what a great segment that was. It got me so excited at the possibility of a war of words between those two, and we saw what kind of car wrecks they're willing to do at Money in the Bank. So I'm willing to see an in-match feud between those two as well. I'm here for the Tiffany Stratton versus Chelsea Green feud. It's tacky time was an amazingly delivered line. I'm here for it. You mentioned a couple of things here as well. The women's speed title. I'm totally okay with this not existing because I'm totally okay with the men's speed title not existing either. It's like the most whatever thing. At this point, it's a meme just to call Andrade El Speedolo. That's it. That's the value of the speed title right then and right there. Sure, I'm sure it gets views on social media and on X. It just doesn't really do it for me, but I understand that I'm not necessarily the target demographic for speed. So because I'm not interested in the men's speed title and division, I'm confident I'm not going to be interested in the women's speed title and division. Women's mid-card, though, now we are talking. If the speed title for women is the catalyst and the launching off point to finally give us a women's mid-card belt on the main roster, then I'm here for it. However, I already felt like we were already working on that stepping stone and catalyst down in NXT with the Women's North American Championship. So I feel like it is still destination women's mid-card, and somebody like Chelsea Green frankly is the perfect inaugural champion for that title belt. Roman just took away any aura and intimidation that the Bloodline 2.0 had built. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I want to touch on. I agree and disagree. I disagree because I feel like that aura was gone when they came out without Jacob Fatu. Not having Jacob Fatu out there completely diminished the Bloodline 2.0 from having the intimidation factor that it had with Jacob Fatu. Look, I love the Tanga Loa memes, him holding up the title terribly with his eye patch, but that faction desperately needs, as you know, the people say, the aura of Jacob Fatu. Here's the thing. I also agree with you with Roman Reigns and how he kind of made that bloodline look like, you know, Timu bloodline, as people are calling. When he was in the ring with Solo Sikoa, my thoughts were like, damn, this is a quick visual and stark reminder of how much cooler Roman Reigns is than Solo Sikoa as the tribal chief. So yeah, Roman did that, but I also think it is the absence of Jacob Fatu that started that. Cody Rhodes giving out title opportunities like hotcakes after they weren't earned is devaluing the title. At least they acknowledged that it wasn't earned. At least Kevin Owens owned up to it and said that he's been on a losing streak. So at least, you know, they're self-aware that they are giving the title opportunity to somebody that hasn't been necessarily booked the most strong on TV, but hey, is what it is. It's still Kevin frickin' Owens. People are acting like this is giving a championship opportunity to James Ellsworth. Again, I remind you, this is Kevin motherfucking Owens. Put some respect on his name. The other side of the argument that I'm seeing is that, this is another filler feud for Cody Rhodes. Jesus fucking Christ, people, when are we going to learn that these filler feuds can actually be fantastic? Look at his feud with AJ Styles that literally started as a, why are we having this match with AJ Styles at Backlash? Only for them to give us the best match of the year. I still firmly stand by that. Give us a fantastic follow-up at the I Quit match at Clash of the Castle, and give us a great feud in between with a fantastic heel turn. Let's just let this play out. People are acting as if Kevin Owens isn't going to deliver a fantastic match and a great storyline. I'm here for it personally. Kevin Owens needs to turn heel during the feud with Cody Rhodes. It feels like his face run has run its course, and he's felt like a second fiddle in so many storylines over the past 2 years. We need something refreshing for Kevin Owens. You know what would be refreshing for you specifically, Owen, that sent in this hot take? A little bit of fucking punctuation. That was the most run-on sentence I've ever read. But I do think that there's some interesting points to be had here. I do think that to a degree, babyface Kevin Owens maybe has run its course. Kevin Owens has done his best job as a heel in professional wrestling, in my opinion. That being said, he had a wonderful babyface run going into WrestleMania 39, teaming up with Sami Zayn. But since then, like you said, he has sort of felt like second fiddle. So did AJ Styles for a really long time, and that heel turn really did elevate AJ Styles throughout that PLE cycle to feel like this top main event player that people are desperately wanting to see more of. Maybe that is the formula for Kevin Owens, this frustration with Cody Rhodes over him maybe teaming up with Roman Reigns. I could see that where the storyline goes, where he teams up with Jey Uso. I could see that being a catalyst for Kevin Owens snapping on Cody Rhodes. And it would be a justified heel turn, a justifying snapping, because he is seeing this guy that he's been helping over the last 2 years to conquer the bloodline all of the sudden teaming up and being buddies with the guys that he helped conquer, you know, in Roman Reigns in the original bloodline. And we saw Kevin Owens' frustration with Nick Aldis when he even thought of giving Roman Reigns the next championship opportunity. So there is a narrative path where they can go with a Kevin Owens heel turn that could make sense, that could make Kevin Owens a sympathetic heel as well.
Batista powerbombs him here, right? Yep, he breaks his neck.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was right under the chin.
No! Yeah. Triple H did it. Oh.
That was a sneak preview of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is available exclusively over on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week with the Match Club, you're going to be getting a blow-up doll versus Kota Ibushi. You're going to get the mega match of John Cena versus Batista at SummerSlam 08. We're looking at the incredibly dangerous Ultimate X match from 2009 TNA, alongside a hidden Ring of Honor gem between Shinsuke Nakamura and Kevin Steen, and a 3-on-1 handicap between all 3 members of The Shield versus CM Punk. This week, you're going to be getting all 5 of those watch-alongs alongside the podcast 3 days early, the Raw reviews, and the SmackDown review, and more. And you can get all of this content over on the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. This is all extra content that never appears on the YouTube channel because, frankly, it can't ever appear on the YouTube channel. So again, go check it out. It'll be the top link in the description or the link in the pinned comment. I think that if you even just give the Patreon 1 month, that you're gonna fall in love with. I actually upload more on the Patreon than I do on the YouTube, which is kind of crazy to think about considering I upload daily here. All right, that's it for the sellout. Go check it out. Back to the video. Was really hoping to see Heyman with his tribal chief. I was hoping for that as well, and I even thought for a second that we were gonna get Jimmy Uso. However, I feel like this is the next buildup. This is what they want us to wait for. They want us to wait and clamor for the original bloodline to come together, and the pieces are slowly starting to fall into place. We already have Roman Reigns back. We have Jey Uso and Sami Zayn being buddies and tag teaming over on Monday Night Raw. All we need is a brand change, and all of a sudden, 2 pieces of the bloodline are already together, and Roman Reigns already being on the show makes it so that 3 pieces of the bloodline could coalesce together as well. That could be the reason why they're holding off on Paul Heyman and Jimmy Uso for the inevitable reunion of the OG bloodline, the Avengers Bloodline Assemble moment, probably leading into Survivor Series War Games, the next upcoming Big 4 PLE. That's what I'm presuming, at least. Again, I am someone that from time to time would like to have a little bit of instant gratification. I would have popped hard for Paul Heyman or Jimmy Uso, but I'm also willing to wait and allow for all of this to play out for an even bigger pop. Have Charlotte return, helping Bayley out against Nia and Tiffany. I think this is where it's going to go. I see where the other pieces of the women's division are. The other main eventers are still just super focused on the tag team division, including Naomi now. So that leaves very few options for Nia Jax as a legitimate threat to her women's championship, aside from Tiffany Stratton, who's her best friend, however, with that Money in the Bank briefcase, Bayley, but she beat Bayley pretty handedly. That to me leaves Charlotte Flair as the next best option, so long as she's able to come back from injury sooner rather than later. And it does give Bayley that 4 horsewoman connection as somebody that could be the one to help her even out the odds against Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, because it is going to be a 2-on-1 affair for the rest of this feud unless somebody comes in to even out those odds. And now that Naomi is busy, who was Bayley's buddy, you know, and throughout this entire saga, I think that leaves Charlotte Flair. And you know what I always say, all right? There are 3 things certain in life: death, taxes, and Charlotte Flair winning the WWE Women's Championship when she comes back from injury. The history just tells us that. And on top of that, I think the end game is Charlotte Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania 31. Book it. There were way too many commercials in SummerSlam recaps. I know it's a network problem, but man, it took a lot of excitement out of many of the segments for me. I felt that way as well, and I think that this is one of the best arguments to have a 3-hour SmackDown, because these recap segments on Monday Night Raw were fine. We needed SummerSlam recaps. I do personally believe that, especially in the episodes right after SummerSlam. For those that don't have the network or weren't able to watch SummerSlam, I know that I personally appreciated those pay-per-view, as they were called back then, recaps on those episodes because I couldn't afford pay-per-views. So I needed to be caught up in some way, shape, or form. So I know that the SummerSlam recaps were valuable to somebody. Maybe not me and you that are in the know, that have our finger on the pulse of all of professional wrestling, but there are people that those SummerSlam recaps are valuable for. They are significantly less invasive to the actual show that they're telling when it's a 3-hour show like Raw, when you can still make time for everything else. But on SmackDown, when you have this many recaps, you inevitably have to cut something out, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit of a later hot take. Pretty Deadly are one of the best things on SmackDown and should be on TV more often. I'm smiling ear to ear every single goddamn time that we have Pretty Deadly on TV. As you said, they're like one of the most entertaining things. I wish they won more matches, but at the very least, we're getting them on TV. I really hope they get their play. I really hope they get the musical. I hope that it gets advertised on Broadway. I hope that it gets advertised on the West End. Yes, that's right. I know my locations of good plays, all right? I understand. I love my musicals, all right? But yes, please give us more Pretty Deadly feuds. And yes, please at least give us a 20, 30-minute video on the WWE YouTube page of this actual musical. It would go so hard. Tanga Loa has infinite aura. I love this man. I really do love this man. I don't know why. I could not put it in words. I couldn't write you an essay as to why I love Tanga Loa so much. I think it's all the mistakes. I think it's the eye patch. And I think it's the fact that every single week there is just something meme-worthy about this man. The fact that he can't even hold up a title correctly. Come on, bro. Like, he has to be doing this on purpose at this point, right? I love Santos, but can we please stop getting the endless Santos LA Knight rematches? So this is a problem of the mid-card and how little time it has to develop other people. Think about Monday Night Raw and think about that mid-card for a second, right? The Intercontinental Championship has the Sharks around it, the typical people. It has the Sami Zayns hovering around. But at any moment, because they've been giving screen time to them, they could call up a Sheamus. They could do Ludwig Kaiser. They could do Ilya Dragunov. Now they could do Bronson Reed. And that's because Raw has enough time to develop the other portions of the mid-card that aren't always immediately part of the title picture. When I look at like the last 6 episodes of Friday Night SmackDown, the only 3 mid-carders that are getting any time, aside from LA Knight, I wouldn't even put Logan Paul in this because he was there 1 out of like every 5 episodes, but it is Santos Escobar, it is Carmelo, and it is Andrade. It's literally only those 3 that are viable options for LA Knight as a next feud. And weirdly enough, the most logical person, because Andrade and Carmelo Hayes are so busy with one another, was Santos. This was a quite seriously, by process of elimination decision, in my opinion, as to why we landed on Santos Escobar, because we haven't had enough time to build the rest of the mid-card. I'm really struggling to get behind Jade Cargill right now. She's losing, quote, aura as it goes. I understand that the tag team run is for experience, but the huge star that she was built to be, I felt it before, far from it now. I think that this is fair, but it's also kind of a bit of an obvious statement. Think about how she was initially rolled out. She was rolled out at the Royal Rumble, where she made a huge splash. She almost won the whole thing, and she eliminated the unstoppable Nia Jax, and then immediately feuding with people that were with championship gold and Io Sky and Damage Control, who had the women's tag titles at the time. So her initial set of feuds were against the main event of the women's division. Because now you're building her up for experience in the tag team division, you can't have those moments until she is ready to get back into that. So I do think that she is losing aura, but it's obvious because her competition also has less aura. Yes, she's surrounded by Bianca Belair, but she can only help so much when Jade's matches are just squashing people from the tag team division. Inevitably, once they decide, let's split this team up, or maybe let's have them feud against one another, that aura you're talking about is going to come right back, I promise you. Jade Cargill is a star. Like, it's undeniable, like that she absolutely is. But I think that it's a fair criticism, but I don't necessarily think it's a criticism of Jade Cargill. It's just the position that she's in at the moment. It would do that to anybody, right? If you were to put the top star of the women's division, Rhea Ripley, into the women's tag team division, she would also by default lose aura. That's the worst way that you could have returned Roman. He didn't even talk, and to me, he didn't prove a point. I mean, I guess to each his own. I personally like the return. I popped for the new entrance theme. His aura, as the people say these days, was off the chain. He came out there, destroyed that fake ass bloodline, set up our feud with Solo Sikoa. I don't know if that's going to be for Bash of Berlin, Bad Blood, whatever it might be. He speared somebody through a barricade. You know what I could have done with? If he had to just grab the mic and just yelled out, "Acknowledge me," and that's how the show ended. I feel like that would have gone a long way. I think this is just a difference of opinion. I liked it. You didn't like it. I think that's fair. I'm not going to try and put you through the coals because of, we have a different opinion. Nia Jax not being on the SmackDown after SummerSlam was a disappointment and overall really telling of how her reign could play out. I'm sure they could have replaced a match like Andrade versus Escobar, which wasn't needed, with a 7-minute promo for Nia and a new opponent. You're actually a bit wrong here, but there's something else here. I do think that Andrade versus Escobar was highly needed. It was a fantastic match, and it was to set up the next feud for the United States Championship. You know what the problem is? It's not that they gave time to Andrade and Santos Escobar. Again, we're going to come back to this. It's that SmackDown is only 2 hours long, and they spent a lot of time with those SummerSlam recaps where you could have done the Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton crowning ceremony. Here's the problem with SmackDown, and I've talked about this before. Because of its short runtime and because of how well-rounded all of WWE is now between women's, men, main event, mid-card, tag team definitely leaves a lot to be desired. What happens usually with SmackDown is that one of the major portions of the show, one of the major divisions, always gets left out. Think about it. It's always either the tag team division gets left out, the women's division gets left out, or the United States Championship picture gets left out. It's always one of those three, and it's always rotating every other week. And it seems like this was the week for the women to miss their segment, and that is sadly, unfortunately, what ended up happening. I wouldn't be surprised if next week we don't get a LA Knight segment, perhaps. Maybe next week we don't get a tag team segment, perhaps. We'll see. And that also is problematic because it makes it difficult to get excited on a week over week basis over one particular storyline in a particular division of the WWE, because you might have a moment with it this week and then next week there's nothing. Think about the Andrade Carmelo Hayes feud. It's start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. It's really hard to get behind it if that's what they do every single week. And by default, that's also a emblematic problem of the women's division on SmackDown. There's a lot of start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, where the champion is there, not there, not there. It always happens with something on SmackDown. Giovani Vinci is about to be one of the best gimmicks on SmackDown by the end of 2024. Mark it down. What is the gimmick? Is he just like the rich Italian guy? Is he a heel? Everybody thought that this was the perfect opportunity for him to turn babyface. I guess they're not going to run with that. I guess he's not going to try and get his pound of flesh back from Ludwig Kaiser. I don't know, man. I'm not particularly sold on this. I know that Giovani Vinci is an amazing worker. I loved his character as like the super attractive model from NXT. I thought that it worked really well. Maybe that's the route that they're going to go with. Who knows? I don't know. I'm optimistically pessimistic about this gimmick with Giovani Vinci, especially with how hard it is to get TV time on SmackDown as is. Where the hell is Shinsuke Nakamura? First Odyssey Jones and now Giovani Vinci. The IWC memes are dead, damn it. I know. RIP the who meme and where the hell is Gio meme. This Roman face turn has completely overshadowed Cody's title run, and there's a chance Cody gets booed if they have a rematch. Yeah, I think you're telling the truth here. By default, Cody Rhodes is now overshadowed. Roman Reigns is the top babyface of Friday Night SmackDown. And that's crazy that your champion, the guy that you've prototypically engineered to be your top babyface of the company, is no longer that just in the snap of a finger because Roman Reigns decided to come back. Here's the thing though. I do still think that Cody Rhodes is going to be the default top babyface of the company because he's actually there every week. Roman Reigns will not be. And when you're not there every single week, there's plenty of pops to go around for Cody Rhodes. But let's say next week they had a match. Yeah, Cody Rhodes is getting booed and Roman Reigns is going to be the favorite in that match for the crowd. All right, folks, that's it for this week's SmackDown's Hot Takes. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to be part of these, make sure that you're following me on X. I'm hearing you guys here on YouTube. I know you want me to do Hot Takes in the community tab. I'm prepping for it. I'm thinking about it. All right, but that's it for now. Okay, bye. Go. Get out of here.